Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Academy of Animated Arts Community Critique and Show, where the community gets together and we give each other feedback and hang out afterwards and just chat about lighting. So today we have a couple submissions. One from Ben that also has a nice video for us to watch and go through. We have some from Matt, as well as Raghavendra and Sarah, who had two different versions. I thought it'd be fun to compare and contrast what she changed. Yeah, so let's start off with Ben, and I wanted to start first with this great before and after that Juan did, kind of showing like how they could further amp up this piece and give it more of that contrast ratio between the key and fill and that we've kind of been talking about over the past couple of weeks. Ben, do you want to talk about how you kind of took that feedback and made this video?
Hi everyone. So this scene is shows the morning after nightfall, fall of because the previous shot where the son and the father were arguing with each other, then it's end up with they said nightmare, and then the next day the father now is wake up morning, he's preparing himself to go for hunting. Next shot we will see he is yelling at the son, and next shot we will see the kids refuse to follow his father. So you can say it's kind of tension in the morning.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
this is the story of this shot.
Excellent. I definitely feel the tension in that character's face. Yeah. Does anyone
Yeah.
have any feedback right away?
So
First thing that comes to my mind, and I don't know if it's lighting or if it's just material or something, but the eyelashes on his right eye look very gray compared to the one on the left eye.
yeah, this is material.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so
yeah.
maybe fix that. The other thing, it's not really very, I don't know, but the shadow that the eye is making, the left eye, our right eye, is making on the nose looks a little weird to me.
This one that
Yeah,
I just highlighted.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely like some of these harsher shadows still going on, and it might be worth in Unreal taking a look at your light's shadow bias, or if you're using like rec lights, which I can see here, maybe playing with the size of the rec light to soften up the shadows.
Is it working with the lumen? I have tried.
I don't know. I think yeah, I haven't come across this issue yet, but definitely
Yeah.
something with using something that's very early on that comes with those sorts of risks. But I think playing around with shadow bias and playing around with the size of the light, seeing if you can get it to soften out.
Yeah.
The other thing that gets my attention is the how do you call it, the turban, the whatever, yeah, the head scarf or something. On the left side, it's almost as light as the right side, as the bright side. I think it would benefit from having a little bit more difference in value from the bright side to the shadow side, and especially you can see like the gap between the headscarf and the head. It's like completely black, so you would expect the scarf to be much darker there, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, looking at this view, you can see like how you're definitely drawn a lot to the headpiece as well as over here as well. But in Juan's the version Juan did, it is definitely darker over here, and my eye doesn't immediately go up here. It's drawn to this quadrant. There's also, like, if we compare this to this, your black values are much more lifted than here, and having this darker background is helping the character pop out. And so I think if you kind of went in and did some of that, you could definitely like start to pull attention to the character.
Yeah.
And then if we went ahead and darkened that a bit, and then take a look at it in this mode. Yeah, I'm already getting pulled over here, more than this kind of larger area where I'm looking more up here, when really what we want to see is this anger. I'd also watch out for the shadows on the teeth. They're quite harsh, like right here and right here. Yeah, it's almost like this line that happens here. But I do really like the improvements, and I think furthering and keeping this in mind for the entire piece will really help start to get this into a great place. Anybody else have feedback?
I really like how you really brought life to the eyes in the second version. There's just something that is a little distracting to me about the eye ding, or maybe because there's like two of them. Like there's one kind of bordering on the iris and the sclera, and then there's one off to the right a little more on the sclera. And then also just the material of the eyebrows. I would just think they'd look a little more like the ears. Other than that, I think it's insanely awesome improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the eyebrows, maybe getting it to match the beard more or something would help, because the beard is like more dry, scruffy kind of feel, and this is like right here especially, get some of those highlights that make it a little satiny. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, it looks like he waxed his eyebrows. Like he put like mustache wax on the eyebrows.
Yeah, and then like, psh.
Yeah.
Maybe he does that when he gets angry.
True. As far like that, then that's when everybody knows, like, don't mess with him. He has waxed
Dad's
his
mad.
eyebrows.
Yeah. Well, nice work, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone for giving feedback. Next up, we had these two from Matt, which are some architecture visualization work that he's been working on. I do think they're submitted to client, but also they're posted in the WIP and feedback. And we were just having a talk about exposure, like choosing the right exposure, and especially if you're doing like photorealistic work. And so this one to me just popped out as if this is looking properly exposed, then these elements here should feel, these like the light coming in from outside should feel much brighter, because at first I thought these were feeling like painted textures on the wall more so than like light coming from these windows here.
Yeah, definitely. And then if the sunlight on those walls is exposed like that, these lights wouldn't be this like solid bright. So that does pop out because this time of day too, I would expect the sunlight to be very bright. That makes
Yeah, totally. I think I totally agree. Also, the fact like the room inside is completely lit. It kind of like gives you the idea that that's night because it's lit as bright as the sunlight. So that doesn't really make sense to my eye. The other thing that I would say is I would expect to have a lot more of a gradient or of a variance from on the ceiling from the right to the left side. As the it's like the right side is right by the, I'm not going to say it's a window because it's not a window, but right by the opening, and I think that maybe having a gradient of light going all the way to the left side would be, yeah, exactly, would make a pretty good difference.
It's very crude what I just did, but
Yeah, but that's, yeah, and the fact that if that's daylight, those walls, the outside walls would be completely blown out. And even the sun shining on the red wall, I think could be much stronger.
I do.
But this,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ben.
but this shot seems it's early morning, so you can't see that harsh sunlight.
Yeah,
Maybe
but the moment that the sun peeks through the horizon, then it's day. It doesn't really matter that much, unless it's a very gloomy, cloudy day in which you won't have the sun shining through the and hitting the red wall, or you won't see the shadows on the wall from the tree. But the moment that the sun is actually shining on pieces of the image, that then, like, well, the artificial light basically becomes non-existent unless you have cinema lights there to be able to illuminate that.
Yeah, I think the two things that would be like super beneficial going into the next one is knowing, like, if you're working from reference, and we'd love to see that, because then it'd be much easier to kind of tailor it to that, and also looking more into like PBR, like luminance values for the sun, and for the lights, and being able to like to get it into a realistic grounded place if that's the intention for the projects. Yeah. Oh, I did also want to say I really love what's going on here with the shadow light, and I'd almost love to see if there's a world in which we could get more breakup like that over here, like this. But I just think that's really pretty, and that's kind of where my eye likes to rest in this image. Then there's this one as well. And I assume that this one's similar time, but the outside, but I could be wrong. But kind of the way the light's really low here.
I think they said the earlier photos the inside of this building.
Yeah.
I really like how it makes me feel like I'm in this time of day, which I think is great. But I do find myself looking here a lot, but I'm not sure if like that can really be avoided, because I don't want to say to darken the sun, to darken that part. What do you guys think?
One thing that comes to my mind is that uh, um, kind of throws me off that the sun is basically in the picture. So theoretically, all the shadows should be coming towards the camera, and they're actually going to the other side. So that kind of confuses me a little bit. And I also think that the same thing as the other image, I think the shadows would be are a bit too lifted up, and the interior also a bit too bright, too, and especially the part on the top. I don't know if that's like a translucent thing. I don't know if it's the sun that is shining through there, but it kind of looks like it's a light. It's illuminated, and that wouldn't. I don't know. I think it wouldn't be that bright, that visible during the day.
Yeah, I agree. The light coming from inside is still very strong. And
Maybe.
then these,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, just these black values of these materials here are also like way too dark. It doesn't really match
True.
the other parts of the scene, like
Maybe,
right here.
maybe if you want to, maybe if he wants to actually show the inside, maybe go from golden hour that is now to a blue hour, where you
Hmm.
a lot less outside light, and you can actually, you know, there will still be ambient light to see the whole structure, but a lot less, and then you can see, you can actually crank up the interiors and make it shine.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think hiding that sun away would be super helpful, and let you get more of the like beautiful sky in here, over here, and then you don't really need to move the sun direction. This is another thing where yeah, learn like PBR values and like learning kind of what the darkest, you know, albedo or base color is, and then like learning what material this is, finding out that base color value. It'll then start to respond properly if you can start to get it up in that range. Um, at the very least, pushing it to get to match with everything else. Um, this line here to me makes me. This almost feels like Lambert material, but it also seems like it could be the wood. Um, so it'd be maybe worth kind of exploring, um, adjusting those colors a bit, or seeing if you can get it to feel more like the intended material. And these would probably be much darker if those are windows. But yeah, I agree, Diana. It's a really nice feel. I'm excited if Matt, if you keep kind of pushing it. If not, notes to take into the next thing. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Alrighty. Let's see. Sarah, since you're here, let's go ahead and jump down to you. So I see you submitted a whip a little bit earlier, and then a new whip.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm liking the flex.
Yeah.
Well, those were there and had been turned off in the original screenshot. The main, so there was that change, but really it was like bringing down that backlight.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was kind of creating better framing and like it felt better for justifying that light, since the idea is him kind of coming out of where he's been doing his spooky magic things.
Yeah, I really like the new shaping on the wall,
Mhm.
especially this one. So I think that's a really good uh, edit.
It shows you the power of lighting. Just like it
Yeah,
almost feels like a different asset, you know?
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
where did all those details on the wall come from? Oh, it's the lighting.
But from the last critique, I did get rid of, there was a lot of speck on the one wall.
Mhm.
And I worked to try to bring up, like, it was almost completely black, like around his cloak at the bottom, to bring that up and get a little more light on him in general. And I think I said in the notes that the one thing I haven't gotten to yet that was noted was the eye ding.
Well, I'm just bouncing through. If anyone has feedback, feel free to jump in.
I like the contrast. It's so nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think I don't have any critique or any comments about the lighting. The only thing that I would maybe try to do was it kind of feels like all the materials on him are the same, like roughness and everything. So maybe try to vary a little bit. I don't know.
Mhm.
Give a little bit of a difference between the hat and the skin and the cape, and try to get a little bit more of a dynamic between them.
Yeah.
I would say, if possible, could you try to get some shaping on the cane? Right now, it's just kind of being lost in his darker area, and I know it's not exactly important, but I feel like it's a good storytelling point that he's like elegant. The hat tells half of the story, but I feel like the cane tells the other half of the story, that he's this elegant kind of magician, bat dude.
Yeah.
That's a good thought. Yeah, I keep bouncing back and forth, thinking about like how they're kind of blending, or just like keeping very stark divides in the color, and bouncing back to this one. And part of me almost feels like this should, but that's in quotes, have a bit more of blue influence. Like this image in particular has like this nice hit of blue here. It has it here, and it kind of leads you to the rest of the blue.
Yeah.
And I feel like a little bit more here might be beneficial, but also maybe it's
I don't know, because like when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the reference, I don't know if someone said anything earlier, but looking at, I hope I'm remembering her name right, Emma Stone.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, looking at that color palette, it's like the reason why that image works is because she's blue, and then the background is that like magenta. Mm-hmm. So going back to Asmodeus, he's kind of in that same, like, he's a darker shade of purple, and I'm like, I see the blue that's on screen right, and I kind of want to see more of that shade of blue on Asmodeus, but I mean, that just may be a art direction that you might want to go down or just test out. But
Yeah, I had actually experimented with blue, and I felt like the way it was hitting his face made him look kind of sickly.
Okay.
But I feel you, because I do feel like I'm missing a bit more blue, but like maybe not on the face exactly.
I mean, because like you don't even have to make it like a major thing. It could just be a touch. Like it's surprising how much of a touch can change an image.
May I ask how comfortable are you in Nuke?
I have never touched it ever.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say you could I mean, because I like it, the colors that you have everywhere else. I feel like if you just kind of hinted at that blue in that wall, you could do a constant grade or something like that, and that'll get a nice fade and fall up on the wall. If you know another way of doing that inside of, I think this is probably Unreal that you're letting this in.
Yes.
If you somehow can, and I know it's kind of like not the best thing to do, but if you can somehow just isolate that one wall so you're not, killing anything else with the blue, because I know you said his face was getting sickly when you put it on his face. So I think that if somehow you could just get it on that wall and just hinted it solely, that'll be really nice. And it would, like, because you start, and when I'm looking at this image anyways, I'm starting from, I mean, I go straight to him, but then I come back and I'm looking at this wall, and it leads me over, and the blue kind of fades out, and it would be nice if there is more blue on that wall, like everyone's been saying, to kind of lead me from the outside to the inside to this character. Just a thought.
Yeah, I can try that.
And I mean, like another thing is like this blue light feels like it, as with the intensity it's hitting him, that maybe you could stand to get this just a little bit brighter. Like, so maybe that light, maybe you need to push the attenuation radius back
Okay.
a little bit or something so that you're getting it a bit more here. Because it'd be nice to see, obviously not as intense spec, but to get like, some spec here. I think that'll help maybe like unflatten this part a bit and help kind of continue that path to the character. Yeah, but it's looking awesome.
Thank you. And thank you all for your input.
I just sent a reference in the group. I don't know if it will be useful. You can just
Let me find it. Oh, I see it. Yep.
yeah.
I'm laughing because that's on the other side of my references as well. So yes, very good. Yeah.
But what I like in this reference, you can see the blue when it goes to the pink. It's creating contrast, white contrast. So nice.
Yeah.
And that contrast will really pop up the character. We can see it so clear. Okay? So you may think about this idea to rim light to outline the character from the bright background, so we can see that line. Just idea. You look at her hands, the edge of her hands, the edge of his hair. So we can get that adaptive color. Goes to the white. It's creating nice contrast.
Yeah, it pulls you in, like even if we do that. I mean, the color is a huge part of it, and then the lack of or the desaturation of those lights, that rim-ish. Because it's rimming her hands, but then there's like that more kind of on this side, I think it's called the dumb side, that's getting hit with some light. a bit more directly. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, great work.
Beautiful colors.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Alrighty, next up is Raghavendra. So this is the work in progress. And this is the reference.
Mm.
Anyone have any feedback right away?
Can you click? Yeah. The first thing I'd say is, and I personally hate this critique myself. I feel like the characters are a little bit flat, in the sense that, the shading and the gradation is not. Yeah, exactly. It's not coming through as much as maybe it could. I feel like there are some opportunities for you to hit some rim lights, maybe some specular lights. If he clicks back over the reference image, yeah, I feel like there's not as much of the rimming or anything like that, but I feel like even just that, hint of light on the sides is really nice. So I guess I would call that rimming. And I feel like the shadows tell a lot of the story in your characters, like especially on the Middle African American lady. I feel like that's missing here. And the specularity on some of the cups and cupware is coming through a lot better on this version, because there's more tension to it, whereas I feel like there's more of just a general light. But I know this is a work in progress as well, so I'd say just keep moving forward with this piece. Oh, and I just noticed something. There's this really hot pink thing, and I have no idea what that is on the pink monster cup. It looks like this cup is glowing, kind of. Yeah.
Looks like it's glowing.
Yeah.
Oh, finish yourself.
I'm not exactly sure what that is. If it's a story point, I would like it to be maybe explained a little bit more with maybe some glow or something. But I feel like right now it's missing. The other thing is that in your reference you have a lot of the what is it called? It's like a what's the thing that you put in the light force?
Like a gobo or?
Yeah, gobo. Yeah. I feel like that gobo is telling a lot of story here. It's
where are you talking
telling,
about?
Behind them, the kind of
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about just how the window slats, like the way the light's coming through there.
Yeah, I feel like you could create something like that in Maya as well, and I feel like a lot of the things in your reference can just be pushed in yours, so that you meet that goal of where you're going. Because I see the hints of it on some of the characters, but if you push it just a little bit further in the contrast, then I think you'll be closer to the goal that you're hoping to achieve.
Nice. Anyone else have some thoughts?
Yeah, about the glowing thing on the cup there. There's also, I don't know if you guys mentioned and I didn't pay attention, but anyways, there's also below the green, the one on the left. There's a part of I don't know what that is, but yeah, right there, that is kind of like, it's not as glowy as the other one, but it's like there's light coming from somewhere that we don't really see where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, the two sugar tubes on the left, the one on top kind of looks like it's floating.
Yeah, this one feels a little bit like that too.
Also, the little tea bag label, yeah, it feels like it's floating a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe there's some light linking stuff going on, or maybe just kind of adjusting where the lights are to get a little bit more contact.
Yeah. The cube on the right, the one that's sitting on the table also. I think that there's a blur that is only on the marble and not on anything else, and that might be what's also kind of throwing it off.
Yeah, it does feel like there's some depth of field on the set, but not the foreground, or like not these things.
Yeah.
Might want to look into. I think that'll help integrate this one. The other thing is, and I think we mentioned it on somebody else's image with this asset, but the bump on some of the materials is getting really high. Or you might want to look into like what it looks like with a much lower bump, because I think here like it's not so high where you're completely like missing all the specular highlights, and here you're starting to get some nice ones, but try to get this kind of highlight throughout, and I think lowering the bump will help that. And something similar might be happening to the cups as well, because the cups, I think, would imagine there's a lot more specular highlights going on, like looks more glassy and shiny.
Yeah, it looks like that metalness mask or something's going on here that's causing it to get funky.
Here I feel like there's a light that's placed in a very particular place that's causing this.
Yeah, I feel like it's whatever's hitting this and this is causing a very weird glancing angle issue.
You know, I think this made, even though that it's not very lit, I think this might be suffering from too many lights in here.
Yeah, I would agree. And this, or sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead, keep going, Chris.
No, I was pretty much gonna like follow up when you were like flipping that over, because it's like you have the one box light that's over their head, the one box key that's giving them, you know, all this nice yellow right here. You might have and just for future recommendations and stuff, like if you're lighting a scene, try to approach it as it's like, you know, physical like space, and to light it that way, because then it's like, oh, okay, let me just use this one here, this one here, this one here. But yeah, you got a box above, then you have like maybe an accent light. Where is that coming from? Probably like left of camera, and then you have like another like blue light coming from behind them that's like going through that grate. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I like. Yeah, there's this kind of pinkish light off here, and you're right about like this top light is doing a lot of really nice work. Like this line is great. Like I like how all three characters feel like they're having a different reaction to whatever is going on off screen. Like, you know, this feels a little more kind of sinister. This one feels a bit more kind of like passive to me, and then this one feels like a bit more either like mysterious or trying to like to avoid because of how the eyes are shrouded. And in this one, you're so right. Like I wonder what it looked like if we can find some motivation to get the overhead, whether that's pushing these fellas back here, like on, you know, near the oven or near the overhead lights here, and really playing that up, and narrowing the sources a whole bunch, and just making sure all the shaders, everything's responding correctly to light, because it looks like there are a couple things that aren't. So even just sometimes it's cathartic, it can be scary, but just delete all the lights and go back in here and go like, how are they achieving this? Like, what are the sources? And the light from outside, some sort of neon or something back here, and then this like top down light, and limit yourself to like those three and see how far you can get.
I did have one thing. One thing that really stood out to me in the reference photo is that there's a real limited palette. You have like these ivories, the blacks, and the cocos, and the gold. It's a very neutral palette. Whereas on the teacups and the monsters, they all have these. There's like every color of the rainbow. And working with the strong blue and the strong magenta and the lights, it just has a kind of like a rainbow effect. It's a.
Yeah.
I would say we get rid of the flowers on the teacups and tone down all the visual interest and the colors. You know, make it more of like a neutral palette. That's just what I see from looking at the.
No, that's a great thought. I keep going there. I'm just gonna exit out as I stop that. Yeah, the colors from the lights are doing a lot of work here, and like in particular, this character has like very like high spec skin, and like this outfit that's given like really nice specular hits, and yeah, the teacups, like you're saying, they don't have these like distracting, super high saturated decorations on them. It's very plain, and so it could be worth going in and doing an art direction pass on the props and like simplifying them so that you can start having a more cohesive scene that the color, the color and shaping from the light is dictating the palette a little bit more than the super high saturated aspects of all the different characters and their clothing.
The last thing I wanted to mention is the focus of the image right now is a little bit unclear. So if you were to, the ground is the hottest thing, and I don't think that's the focus of the image. The character in the middle is brighter than the other two characters, so there's a bit of focus on him. But I feel like my eye goes to that front teacup, plate, and then the floor. So I'd say play around with that if you can.
Yeah, and I think even like going into that more top down and taking all this advice, I mean, you can just very quickly see like, hold on, too big. What I want to get across is you could tell a lot of story just by getting more shaping, like how in the original, in your reference, that one character like has their eyes hidden. You're kind of set up perfectly to have that with this character. Kind of draw attention to the fact that they're kind of upset and like, and then that same light could serve to show how he's basking in it, and then this one could maybe be a bit more kind of, this one could be a bit more kind of rimmed with it, but like you can get 3 different looks by simplifying the lighting and getting some of that saturation out of there. And this is good practice just anyway to kind of like bounce back and forth between black and white and your color image to make sure it's reading right. Any other thoughts?
I feel from the previous work in progress for this shot and this shot, I feel it's good. I upload the image in the group. I'm thinking it's a good progress until now, but you have to think about how the hierarchy of the values go with the scene. Yeah, this is the previous one. So where the focus or where is the attention goes back. And now I think by that reference, he wants to propose the idea of, I want to draw the attention on the center, but still missing the hierarchy or the value structures. Some object we see doesn't have shaping, less specular. So I think if you just work more on the values, once it's working, and it's functioning right, you can jump back to the color and fix the color and normal map. You can see even the normal map of the eye is high with the new image, yeah, on the left.
I think this is their first pass. I don't think that's their previous pass. Do you recall?
Yeah, I saw her uploading. This is the second one.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
but yeah, well, everything you were saying was good. Continue.
yeah. So I feel if she or he work more on the values, spreading the value from the background to the acting area to the foreground, and see where you want the attention flow. You want it really specific on the center character, or you also want it like the highlight I can see goes to the right. Once you structure the hierarchy well, you go to the color and fixing the color. So I think, yeah, I feel like what he is proposing here, he is trying to put a strategy for drawing attention, but he needs to work more on the values and more on the color.
For sure. I think it's definitely a nice improvement. And yeah, making some decisions on what the practical lights are, and sticking to that. But it is a huge improvement in the value hierarchy for luminance. Yeah, great thought. Sweet. Well, that concludes the recorded critique part. So thank you everybody who watched and joined in. Thank you everybody who gave feedback and just came to hang out. And if anyone's interested, please feel free to join the Discord and come hang out with us, please.